All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, crazy thing happened with Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford as the WBO orders a fight that has already been agreed to. Very strange behavior that leads me to believe things ain't quite as done about this fight as we think they are. Let's talk about that in this video. Very bizarre order came from the WBO yesterday as the World Boxing Organization ordered a fight between Terence Crawford, the interim WBO champion at 154 pounds, against the WBO world champion at 168 pounds. Bizarre to say the least. If the fight is already signed and done, why would the WBO order a fight that has already been made? Before I get into the details, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your support. It really makes a huge difference to the channel. Let me talk about this because the WBO has bent over backwards for Terence Crawford for at least the last 6 years. At 154 pounds, the WBO broke up a fight that was supposed to be tried to break up a fight that was taking place between Keith Thurman and Tim Tszyu in order to make sure that Terence Crawford got the fight shot at the WBO title. Now you have the WBO at 168 putting Terence Crawford as the number one contender in a weight class that he has not even fought in yet. You have guys like Christian and Billy there, Diego Pacheco, and other 168 pounders that are in that weight class that clearly should be ranked ahead of where Terence Crawford is, because Terence Crawford has never had a fight in that division before. That's ridiculous to say that he is the number one guy in the WBO, even though he's never fought in the weight class or close to it. Also, they were able to do that before when it was called something, when they were saying that he was the WBO super champion, which allows you to fight for a title in the weight class above you, not two weight classes above you, one weight class above you. That's what the WBO's rules had said, and that's the way they had been implementing it before. But for some strange reason, they jump out and order this fight between the two of them. Again, when do you hear of sanctioning bodies ordering fights that have already been signed, have already been agreed to, that are going to happen for certain? I've never seen it. It's almost like the WBO decided to give Terence Crawford some extra leverage at 168 in his negotiations with Canelo. Like, if you don't agree to fight me, Canelo, the WBO is going to strip you. I mean, I'm not sure what that's worth. I don't know how much that's worth, because the truth be told, Terence Crawford is never going to fight in that weight class to begin with. But again, at 154, he only took one fight at 154, and it was for a WBA title. He never defended or fought for the WBO interim title that they gave him. Like, they just gave him the interim title. He only had one fight at 154, but the WBO gave him an interim title at that weight class. He didn't fight somebody at that weight class for the WBO interim title. They put that up while it was a different world championship fight going on. I'm telling you, there's just something really, really funny about the way that the WBO is behaving in this particular instance. It has to be that they are trying to set up and force Canelo Alvarez to follow through with this fight. If you had seen like the look on Canelo Alvarez's face when Canelo Alvarez ended his last fight that he had, and Terence Crawford got in the ring and they did that face-off, they forced that face-off. That wasn't something that Canelo Alvarez was really looking to do. And Canelo Alvarez has honestly never really seemed tremendously energized about this about the Terence Crawford fight regardless. But hey, that's what Turki Alasheik wants to pay for, and that's what they're doing. However, there's also been a lot of pressure being put on Canelo Alvarez, and all of a sudden this real big push to have Eddie Reynoso and have their whole gym and all that stuff investigated for because of the fact that so many people have tested positive coming out of that place. I did a YouTube short where I was like, this fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez to me is looking like the battle of the cheaters, because you have one guy in Canelo Alvarez who tested positive for Clenbuterol, and then you have Terence Crawford, who over and over and over again seems to have a problem with his gloves blowing up in the middle of fights and hitting people with padding and stuffing coming out of his gloves. So it's just a real ugly, funny, trippy type of situation. But I'm going to tell you who I feel the most sad for. I feel most sad for the guys that are out there at 150, real fighters at 168 pounds that have this farce of a fight sitting on top of them for the undisputed title. You're not going to have Terence Crawford. If Terence Crawford beats Canelo, he's not going to be fighting Christian and Billy. He's not going to fight Diego Pacheco. He's not going to fight David Benavidez if David Benavidez decides to come back down to 168 pounds. You also have just the fact that all of these other fights that are around these weight classes, you have an order for a fight to take place between David Morrell and Callum Smith, and it looks like that Turki Alasheik may try to block that fight because they're trying to save Callum Smith from getting beat by David Morrell. There's like, people are thinking that this stuff is this going on in boxing is just all neat and clean. It's getting uglier and more messy when you have Turki Alasheik being the one that's making fights, but then have to try to get the sanctioning bodies to bend to his will to get this person to be a champion, get this person to be a mandatory, so that way, we are guaranteed to get this fight between Canelo and Terence, and Canelo doesn't decide to change his mind because he never wanted to do it in the first place.